Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. This week I've been particularly busy with 3 liars. I've comprised a video to talk about the 3 main spear points of these liars' contentions, starting with a new student of Taboo Conspiracy. Ben has a new friend called Kurt that, well, he calls himself level-headed, that has decided to take up the gauntlet that Ben, Taboo Conspiracy, abandoned and ran away from after I debunked all the videos he made of the local area. Level-headed just simply mimics good old Tabby by filming over Utah Lake in this video. Who knows, maybe he'll go up to Willard Bay or Bear Lake or something like that. We'll see. I'll address this video later. On one of my earlier Flat Earth Silence videos, a gentleman made a comment, a person, let me say that, made a comment, so I've been talking back and forth with them, and another video I had made some comments, there was other talk on it. Each of the 3 liars I will address today have their different ways of doing things and their different personalities in the way they lie. This person simply would do the standard Flat Earth, ask a question, you answer it, so they ask another one, so you answer it, you ask another one, so they throw out another straw man, the typical Flat Earth thing, and that's what this person did. And it was funny how I finally brought them to their knees and they shut up. It started off by this person asking, why doesn't the Earth itself cause a sonic boom at the equator? It's moving 1,000 miles an hour. And I said, well, it's obvious that the boundary layer affect the air, the atmosphere moves along with the Earth. The mountains aren't doing 1,000 miles an hour, and that's sort of a silly question. Mountains aren't like bullets going through the air. They don't create bow shock. The last in the series was the classic high pressure next to a low pressure without a physical membrane separating the two. How does that work? And of course, this person thought it was the coup de grace. They thought I was dead in the water. I reminded uninvolved third that inside of a nuclear reactor there is high pressure material next to low pressure material without a physical membrane between them. The containment is from an invisible force called magnetism that separates the two. Uninvolved third acknowledged that inside a nuclear fusion reactor that condition does occur, but they said, see, it's still in a container. And I went, oh, boy, did you step in it. Holy cow, did you step in it big time. I said, you forgot it's called a magnetic bottle, right? So the walls of the bottle basically are formed by magnetism. Yes, it is a container, but it doesn't have to be a physical membrane. Then I reminded him, the Earth is a gravitational bottle. The containment is from an invisible force. Oh, holy cow, did they freak out. They realized their mistake. They tried to scrape that stench of Flat Earth off of them. They tried to run and hide from what they said and what they did, but too late. You stink of Flat Earth, so deal with it. And of course, speaking of Flat Earth stench of video tricks, this person tries to produce a video trick and does quite a good job of using atmospheric conditions to be a little magician and make a video making it appear that the sun turns into a little pinpoint of light when it's actually, you and I know, everybody knows, good crap, it's a video trick. And just on the off chance that somebody doesn't know, let's zoom in on this and let's focus in on it, and I'll explain what's going on. There's the sun. There is an atmospheric condition on the ocean because the air is thick, 14.7 psi. Let's just look at it right now. Let's just outline the fog, mist, clouds, whatever it is, and highlight that and let you see that there is something there that is going to aid in diffusing and dispersing and reducing the amount of sunlight, and it's a video trick. Fast forward to the sun being down, not further away, just down. And you can obviously see, let's put in where we have our atmosphere that is blocking the sun. The obvious point is, if you need to use an optical illusion or a video trick to prove your point, you probably don't have a point and you know it. The obvious answer is you won't see that kind of video trick when the air does not contain fog or cloud or mist or particulate matter that messes things up. You won't see that kind of a video trick with this kind of a sunset, only the other kind. And that brings me to where I found this next flat earth liar. This was new to me because this person who created the video, the Las Vegas Elite, kept saying, give me a practical demonstration of what you're talking about. That would be great. I would prove it. I would answer 10 questions about how you do it. And they knew it. I was telling the person who was using the effect. They knew what was going on. But all they would answer back with is, well, waiting for your practical demonstration. Thanks. Have a good day. That's another kind of liar that just pretends you're not there. They're like the bully in school that pretends the kid isn't there. That's what they were doing to me, trying to get me to back off. That brings me around to talk about Ben Taboo Conspiracy's little protege and student. So let's get right to talking about what they did with this. The effect they use is called a Fata Morgana, and this is not only a favorite, it's kind of the go-to bread and butter Taboo Conspiracy loves to use. And apparently Level-Headed is into this optical illusion. I'm going to look at this video of his and kind of talk over it, so pardon what's going to happen, but I'm going to talk right along with it. I'm going to take an excerpt from Level-Headed's video and explain to you what's going on. There's a storm moving in. Utah, because of the elevation, the mountains and such, it has inversions. Level-Headed is obviously a student of Taboo Conspiracy who has taken videos of these. Now, those swells are not really that high. They are, if we're generous, we'll say a foot. I want to take a moment to start this video and explain that they are zooming in the 13.7 miles and explain to you exactly what's happening. So if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, look at this, like Taboo Conspiracy has taken his student's video and made it. Taboo doesn't make anything anymore. I have torn apart Taboo's stuff that he has done before and after I started to look at it, and after I started to film in the same locations and show his tricks. So Level-Headed, he's a new student, he hasn't learned yet, so we're going to teach him right here that as he zooms in, those swells are maybe a foot, and he's going to zoom in. He's got somebody on the other end who is not touching the equipment. Now I want you to notice, there's the light on the left, 13.7 miles. Level-Headed uses the same tricks that Taboo Conspiracy has used. Now he's going to cover it up and the light disappears. Then he's going to let go and the light comes back. And look how weak and how the light goes in and out and such. Each one, the sender and the receiver, are about the same height. The flashlight and later on a laser, well, it might be, I have a flashlight laser combo, so that's what it may be. I haven't looked entirely at this video. What I'm doing is just helping you understand what's going on. That's how high the sending unit is, how high they measure it out. They think they're being very clever in doing these measurements because they think they're proving something. Here is the standard Taboo Conspiracy chart where he takes and misreads foot level to foot level. Level-Headed does go a little bit beyond that because Taboo Conspiracy just flat out fudges his numbers so badly you can easily tear it apart. Level-Headed is a little more, he's a little sneakier, but he still makes the same basic mistakes. I'm going to go over what the basic mistakes of this are. Example, the standard Taboo Conspiracy chart doesn't allow for refraction. But here, let's go through this one more time and I will show you, as you zoom in, those light flashes become really important. There's an easy explanation for why that light blinked. That light is blinking in and out. It's winking in and out. You can obviously see that the swells, the crests and troughs, are blocking the light. His hand is blocking it, but look how the light is winking in and out. Not only is that because of a Fata Morgana, but it's also because the curvature of the Earth, the horizon, the waves are hitting they're blocking the light periodically. You can see the waves. Let's go back and look at that. Let's go back and let's look at this again, and I'll show you that as he zooms in, those swells are not 4 feet high. This stand is 4.5 feet high. The water is not 4.5 feet high. There's no white caps at all. But that light is being blocked by waves. The only way that can happen, since the sending unit and the receiving unit are both at least 4, if not 4.5 or 5 feet off the ground, the waves would have to be equal to that to block the light and make that light wink and blink like it's doing. It's pure simple logic. Unfortunately for him, he doubles down and emphasizes with time for the laser. Then he whips out a laser. It's a myth that it stays a pencil lead size beam forever. It does spread out, just slower than a flashlight or a car headlight or something like that. But it does spread out. Let's take a look at the effect. Let's look at his representation. Now, you can see the obvious heat waves, heat shimmer, as Taboo Conspiracy calls it. If I make a video and it has this same thermal effect in it, he calls it a heat shimmer and says that it's invalid. You can't use it because it's a mirage, it's a Fata Morgana. But if he or his student uses it, oh, it's okay. That heat shimmer effect, that blurry thermal effect floating across there, that's perfectly fine, because he's using the mirage to prove his point. And let me show you. It flutters in and out, flutters in and out, flutters in and out. You can see the heat and the waves. Then there's a direct hit by the laser, as he calls it. But let's look at, he gives an instant replay. Let's start it again, but here's this. Is it a direct hit because of what? He's not moving his end. The other end isn't, neither end's moving. So what is blocking the laser from getting a direct hit? It's the curvature of the Earth. And here it comes. Boom. It gives a direct hit. I'll stop it right here. Now, is the laser, look at these effects right here where there's no laser light, there is laser light, there's no laser light. The reason it is, the particles in the air are scattering it, allowing it to come back down. But think about how wide the laser is here in the video. That means, is his laser really over 400 feet wide? Has he got a 400 foot wide laser on the other side? That's how that's doing that. No, the laser, the waves got out of the way momentarily because there are waves and undulations out there on the lake. And so you can momentarily, for a briefest flash, see it. But for the most time, not only is it being affected by the motion of the water and everything else, he's inadvertently, just like Jeranism, just like anybody else, he's disproving his own stuff. He's giving you all the evidence that you need with your eyes to see the difference between the two. To see the fact that the water is clearly blocking the light from the flashlight and the laser. And how does that happen? Only by curvature. On a flat Earth, if it was a perfectly flat Earth with the sending and receiving units 4.5 feet high, you should see that 100% of the time. You should never, ever, ever see anything less. You should never see this. You should never see a big bright flash like that. It should always be the big bright flash on a flat Earth. Look at how high the sending and receiving units are. You should see this bright flash 100% of the time. See, that wasn't even the bright direct hit. You should see it even brighter than that. You should see this coming up 100% of the time. You should see that all the time if it was direct laser to sender to receiver. You should see that 100% of the time. The waves should never get in your way. On a flat Earth, you should see that all the time. But he does make some other mistakes, like, and it's not really a mistake, it's intentional. Miscalculating the curvature of the Earth, ignoring refraction. If they do allow for height on one side, like the sending unit, they don't allow for the height of the receiving side and such like that. It's an old trick. This guy is better at it than Taboo Conspiracy. This person, this guy has, Kurt, I think his name is, he has upped the game of Ben, Taboo Conspiracy. He's actually improved on the master. So, and Taboo has decided that he's not good enough to really fool the public with his stuff anymore. He tore it all down. Everything derogatory he filmed about me and created about me, and even before that I tore down, he's removed. They're gone. And so now he just grabs other people's stuff like Level Headed and screws around with it and kind of mirrors it, as he says, and tries to get people to believe it. And he recognized that Level Headed is better than him. He recognized that Level Headed had set this up a lot better than he can, and so he's decided to mirror and show his stuff. So see the see the thermal effect? Well, the thermal effect, when I've made videos, Taboo just rips on it, but of course doesn't say a word about Level Headed's thermal effect when he's trying to show a Fata. This is called a Fata Morgana. Read up on Fata Morgana. It shows you all sorts of things about that. But this is Flat Earth Liar 2.0. The original was Taboo Conspiracy. This guy is a student of Taboo Conspiracy, whether directly or indirectly, because he's borrowed a lot of Taboo Conspiracy stuff. Unfortunately, he thinks that Taboo Conspiracy stuff was good, and so he's just building on wrong stuff. But he does do a better job than Taboo Conspiracy, and he may fool people for a little bit unless I can get this video out. This effect that they're all talking about on these lakes at this elevation are inversion caused Fata Morgana mirage, and that's what he's using to try to fool the public. However, keep in mind, don't get me wrong, this guy is really, really good. He has calculated, probably been out there a couple of times and figured out how to get the horizon just barely out of his way. I know exactly what he needs to do to fake a flat Earth, but I'm not going to help him out. I hope. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Productions MJC.